Good morning and welcome to yet another informative episode of Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
All right, let's kickstart today with all that we have for you this morning, coming from our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to visit us if you may. You can always find us and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With us today to go through all that we have newspaper headlines today, and if possible, our main conversation also is no other but Emeka Madunago, journalist and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you.
Hello. Good morning, Emeka.
Welcome to Enterprise. All right, beautiful. So let's kickstart today with the first daily on our desk, coming from the Guardian newspaper. And the big story here: world leaders and nations anxious as U.S. decides Harris-Trump's fate.
Okay, moving on, still on the Guardian newspaper, reps probe NNPCL as protesters lament fuel crisis.
And also we have hashtag end bad governance. Legal news tightens on Borno miners despite Tinubu's reprieve.
Okay, moving on, Tinubu tells ministers to be focused as Edo backs Forex subsidy reforms.
And also, Tinubu tells ministers to be focused as Edo backs Forex subsidy reforms.
Moving on, AFCC declares Delta ex-Governor Okowa for alleged 1.3 trillion fraud.
But let's look into this particular matter. Reps are probing and PC as protesters lament the fuel crisis.
Yeah, and let me give a little body to that story. From the top, you get scores of Nigerians gathered in Abuja on Monday, launching large-scale protests over escalating fuel costs, chronic fuel shortage, and mounting economic hardship, and led by Abdullahi Bilal of the 2 million man march against oil scam cabal, and Barrister Napoleon and Olayemi Isaac from Citizens and Economic Freedom Rights activities in Nigeria. The demonstrators demanded immediate action to address what they described as failed leadership in managing the country's oil sector. Emeka Madunago, can we say there is a failed leadership in managing the oil sector, or the policies are not in alignment to their goals and objectives?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. When you say failed leadership, do you know what you're saying? The president is the minister of petroleum resources.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
we understand that. And since Nigerians are
in managing the
You're about to say Lobato. If you are saying failed leadership, then of course the failed government. Because when the president has been advised to remove his hands from the petroleum sector, that he should appoint somebody, an experienced hand, who will have who has hands-on experience in managing the petroleum sector, so that, he cannot give directives. But he is there. Sometimes he's out of the country for days, for weeks. We don't even know where he is. So why will the sector not be failed? That is why we are having this crisis. Because the president doesn't even understand that, look, we've gone beyond state control of the oil industry. Many, oil sectors across, the world, many are just, going private. You say, okay, let's should probe NNPC. How? NNPC is no longer state-owned. How are you going to probe a private company? Is it for what? Now, the opacity in the entire thing is part of, the problem. Is NNPC still state-run? You say NNPC is not state-owned. Okay, is this still state-run? Is NNPC a fully privatized company? Or is it still a slush fund, allegedly, that was allegedly used for those purposes by previous governments? We need to really look into the problems of the sector. Because I want to tell you clearly that the high price of petrol in Nigeria is unjustified. It's unjustified. The president is just pursuing different agenda from different people without considering the realities on the ground. You're talking of CNG. Where is the gas to power CNG? You don't have enough gas to give the Gencos. We're still looking for gas for LPG. That's why the price of LPG is high, between 1,004 to 1,008 per kg. You are not telling Nigerians, rush to CNG. How do you do this? It shows that truly the sector has failed, and the president must remove his hands.
Thank you, Emeka.
Very so unfortunate. But let's get into what's happening from the Daily Trust newspaper. And the big story here is detention. Falana seeks a compensation as Tinubu directs release of minors. And the writer here, President orders investigation, prosecution of officers behind action, arrest inhuman Bauchi government and AGF to take over to continue case today.
Our top strip, stop castigating leaders, allow God to deal with them. That is coming from the Sultan himself.
Very funny. So we have no going back on forex subsidy reforms of financial minister.
Okay, federal government revokes Abuja Kaduna highway contract. And
all right, and we have ex-Delta Governor Okowa in EFCC custody over a diversion of 1.3 trillion naira. And let's look at of course, the miners. Falana seeks compensation as Tinubu directs release of miners. The question is, often we talk about the very big gap, depletion layer between the those that are leading us and those that are being led. Does it mean that Tinubu was totally unaware that minors have been kept in custody for close to 90 days? Or is it because it's gone beyond, shame, across the world? That's the reason why he suddenly had a change of mind. Knowing that his handlers have often said that these kids needs to be disciplined because of their actions at the End Bad Governance protest.
Let me tell you, this government contains, this government has no strategic policy blueprints on how we should manage information, communications. Anybody says just about anything. The non-performing ministers, just come out and talk. Even what doesn't concern them. One of them said, whose sector has not recorded anything beyond newspaper headlines. Came out and told he want to overthrow Tinubu. When did he become a security expert? I don't know. We remember when the judiciary, I will recommend today that all judges in Nigeria, magistrates and others, should go for orientation. They should go for intensive training. Because some of the judgments you see these days, they leave a lot to be desired. That a judge could sit in open court looking at the conditions of these children and still grant such. The judge actually, what was he looking for? What was even remaining with those children? Malnourished. Severe malnourished. Who was behind that? Tinubu should look no further than the Inspector General of Police, whom he dapped 2 more years. The man didn't merit it. But you see, nepotism has taken over Nigeria, so every government wants to keep them, every president wants his own kinsmen, around. Even people who are not even among the best, but just pick people who will be buying to you, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. We remember when the chief of defense was just being all over the place, he's treated. Instead of just facing his duty, now everybody is trying to backtrack from it. Who are you probing? Is the IG that you're responsible? Who kept those children? They were in the custody of the police. Who gave the court order? Who gave the order for the children to be detained for 90 days? It was the judge. All these things were reported. They should stop deceiving us. As of yesterday, Omoyele Shore was saying that no order, that the Attorney General Federation had not even done anything about the case files of those children. So you see a lot of understanding. That's why I say when people see some of these things, wait until you are sure that action is being taken. Because a lot of these things are just, to please Nigerians. Although another report came out yesterday that the vice president will will at an elaborate ceremony to hand over the children to their various stakeholders. Why? We just love wasting public funds. Who are they fooling? They have bungled this matter. As a matter of fact, they now started releasing what they claimed at the NIN of those children, national identity details of those children. That some of them in the NIN, they were born, they were said to have been born 1992.
Very good.
But you know the funny thing. You know the strange thing there is that during the elections, you see little children on the line to vote. Go and check their voters' cards. You see that the ages of these children put them out as adults. So that means leaders in northern Nigeria conspire to get children to vote. Then now that there is an issue, you now want the rest of the country to solidarize with you.
Because they are
after you cheat the rest of the country by deploying children underage voters. So my colleagues in a TV station were almost beaten up in one northern state during one of the previous elections, maybe 2015, because they asked questions. That why are they underage children? People say, what's your business? What's your business? That's the way we have been doing it. So let me tell you, all of this fraudulent rubbish, it has to stop. It has to stop. You cannot be playing games in Nigerians when you bring children to vote as underage voters, and then tomorrow when there's an issue like this, you now want our sympathy. Who is fooling whom? We must clean the organization, and since they have refused to do something about out of school children, where do we go from here? Northern leaders must sit up. Look at the Sultan of Sokoto telling us that we should not criticize leaders, we should leave it. What does it mean by that? What's the meaning of that? Do they think we don't serve God? What does it mean by that? These people just use religion to confuse people, use religion to just distort the national landscape.
Thank you so much, Emeka. Thank you.
They should be resisted. Femi Falana essay talking about compensation. Look, it should not. Let's not scratch the surface of the issue. It must go deeper. There must be an investigation. Because there was a lawyer, one of the prosecutors who was saying that those children are adults or not. It has to be investigated. There must be private investigation so that this matter is not swept under the carpet. There must be private investigation. And then again, why are these children? Why have nobody tried to take them on bail? If you take them on bail, they might just disappear into thin air. How come no school is missing them? How come no parents? They said their parents were outside, but where are the parents? We've not seen the photographs. So the thing is that these children have just been abandoned, left out there on the streets, and it's sad.
All right. Well, just before we leave, let's just look at the last daily we have here coming from the Punch newspaper. And still on what we had just talked about, hungry miners, Tinubu orders to probe as federal government backs down. And we have writers here, miners' arraignment dent on Tinubu's government, says opposition. CSOs demand compensation for detained protesters.
On the bottom strip, you find Tinubu asks new ministers to stay resilient amid criticism and abuse. All
right, we equally have UK to raise a tuition for universities in 2025.
Okay, moving on. Imported petrol cheaper than Dangote's 990 naira per litre. That is coming from marketers.
Also, let's have this area of concern here. EFCC arrests ex-Delta Governor Okowa over alleged 1.3 trillion naira of fraud. Emeka Madunagu. This is actually a bit surprising. Okowa, who would have become the vice president of Nigeria if Atiku Abubakar had won the elections, is being held now by the EFCC. Is this another show of what Nigerians are used to? When you are not in power, those in authority, you are vulnerable.
Well, it is sad. Well, EFCC, yes, after more than a year, they just suddenly remembered Okowa, okay? Previously, they had picked Darius Ishaku, former governor of Taraba State. Both of them were PDP. I'm not asking the question. What about former APC governors? Those elected in 2015. What has happened? Those who left in 2019, what has happened? Those who left last year, what has happened? Because there were allegations of, huge fraud and theft against many of those governors. So what has happened to them? Why are the governors who left on the platform of APC or Progressive Congress not being arrested and prosecuted? Or are they validating the claim by Senator Adams Oshomole that once you join the APC, your sins are forgiven? You see, he who comes to equity must come with tenants. EFCC must stop all this dramatization. Trying to make Nigerians feel that they are working. Look at all the effort they spent in pursuing Yaya Bello. If they had spent it in pursuing other governors, by now we would have made recoveries in trillions to help this economy. But the issue is that there are assets of former governors in plain sight. But the EFCC prefers to gloss over it. Why? Gloss over them. Why? They must come to equity with clearness. Arresting Okowa, yes, it's okay. The former governor, well, if they feel he has a case as an issue, they should bring it. But it should not just be for the cameras. At 1.3 trillion, okay, possibly you could now try to draw a nexus to the fact that, okay, he was the running mate of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, PDP. So, okay, because Atiku has been criticized, okay, let's bring Okowa in, let's look for one or two things to throw at Atiku. Because, you have petty government officials, petty politicians who they don't care about national interest. They just care about throwing out things. And then you won't be surprised that this Okowa matter will now turn to a circus. They just go around and maybe they will bring up so many charges, and gradually they will reduce the charges, change the charges, and at the end of the day, we'll spend the next 3 years. Nothing will happen. That is it. How many governors? Somebody was there. I said, tell me how many governors have been jailed since 1999.
So are we categorically now saying that the EFCC just come out to just say, okay, they are trying to arrest, and at the end of the day, nothing is going on?
In a lot of grandstanding. Look at the drama with Yaya Bello. Now look at already they come to Edo State, arrested the Accountant General of the state. What for? When there is a subsisting matter in court about your legality, you are already only after holding on to it. No. A court has ruled that it's actually the House of Assembly in a state that is empowered to investigate issues of corruption. But I know there are members of the bar, lawyers who are saying, no, EFCC should continue. Why? They know what it brings for them. Yes. So the point is, let nobody deceive us. EFCC and ICPC have not really impressed Nigerians at all. Otherwise, they would have been working towards preventing corruption, not waiting for people to leave office. And they will start now engaging. Governor of Edo State, Obaseki, will leave office, Monday, November 11th. And there are fears that
they might be after
they might be arrested, they might be hounded, and all of that. At the end of the day, what happens?
Thank you so much.
If it returns to APC, all the sins will be forgiven.
Thank you so much.
And then the people of the state will get the brunt. This is not how to run a nation. You should stop deceiving us.
Thank you so much.
So unfortunate. This is not how to run a nation. At a time when other parts of the world are thinking, going to areas and visiting inventions and creating solutions for their people, which extends to other people outside of their corridor. Right here, we're still talking about how to tame corruption that is just within our reach.
And it's really, it's painful actually.
Very, very,
it's
very
painful because the citizens are suffering it the more, and it's not projecting us in a good light outside the global space. So it's really alarming.
Very, very so unfortunate.
I want to say a very big thank you to you, Emeka Madlago. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Henry.
Thank you.
And when we return, Dangote Refinery accuses international firm of undermining local refining with substandard fuel blending. We'll be right back. To stay with us.